This is Histories and Mysteries. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Jessica. And on this week's episode, Ashley is going to be talking about the Astroworld disaster.
Yep.
Okay. And then I'm going to be talking about the glowing children of Woolpit.
Oh, that sounds. Oh, that gave me chills. Just like old glowing children.
It's a short one, but it's a really good one.
Ooh. So,
Yeah.
this is our first week recording where Jessica is back in Canada. She was here with me for like a little over a week, and we had so much fun.
So much fun.
It was awesome.
We did so much stuff, and it's funny because when I tell people how the trip went and kind of the stuff that we did, it doesn't sound like as much as what I thought we did. But we were
we had
so
toddlers.
busy. That's true. And most of the stuff did take the entire day.
So, of course, they didn't get their naps and then they were hot messes.
Yeah. So we said that we would talk about it a little bit.
Yeah.
So we went to DC a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to the Smithsonian Zoo
Yep.
I think like the second day I was there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like a whole day thing. We're
It was
there
a
like the whole
whole
day.
day. And then it ended in tears because I lost my phone for a minute.
I forgot about that.
I did too for a bit. So we were leaving and I left it in the bathroom, got to our car, and I'm like, I don't have my phone. So I rushed back to the bathroom. It was not there.
Oh,
Asked the lady at the information booth if anybody had turned in a phone, and she said no. So I went back to my car in tears.
God.
But little did I know, because I did not have a phone, that Kyle got a phone call saying, "Hi, it's the police at the zoo. We have your wife's phone." So
So she's able to get it back safe and sound.
honestly, and like I know it's just a phone, but it does have all of my daughter's pictures on it. So I really
Yeah.
do need to invest in an
Yeah.
external hard drive because that would have been literally all of her photos gone.
Yeah. Yeah. That would have been rough.
So, but yeah, that was fun. And what else did we do?
We went to the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument, and then we went to the Air and Space Museum, which was a bit of a disappointment because half of it's under renovation right now. So that was
So
kind of crappy.
disappointing.
Yeah.
So disappointing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Half of it was under renovation. So they only had like a few exhibits open.
yeah. But that's okay because honestly, like we did so much walking. I was kind of
Over it.
over
Yeah.
being there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of was too.
Um,
And we
and
did a
then
haunted walk.
yes, that was so much fun in Harper's Ferry. I got my shirt
Oh, you
here.
got your shirt on.
I got my shirt on. Yeah.
There we go. Oh, it's so cute.
Thanks. It is so soft.
Is
I
it?
need you to like ship me more because they are so comfortable and so soft.
Love
Like
it.
it is literally my favorite shirt ever. Yeah, so we walked around Harper's Ferry, super historic, which was really nice. And then we went for a walk with Ashley's parents. They basically joined us on everything. It was wonderful. I love Dawn and Tom.
They're great people.
They're great people. So shout out. And we went to a farmer's market and we went to Gettysburg.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Yep. So that was nice. Lots of walking. I don't want to walk ever again.
So much walking.
And are you comfortable sharing what happened to you this week?
I ended up in the ER. So I first of all, I have to say, I have never been to the ER for myself. I will wait and wait and wait until I'm practically dead before I go to the ER because I'm so afraid I'm going to get there and they're going to be like, oh, it's no big deal. Bye. And then I'm going to be so embarrassed, even though you shouldn't be because it's always better to be safe than sorry.
Yes.
But I had some really bad pains. And it just kept getting worse and worse. And I was like doubled over and I was like, all right, this isn't normal. So I went and I got diagnosed with diverticulitis. So yay to me. So I'm still in a bit of pain today, but we're gonna push through and do this.
Oh, you poor thing.
I was so afraid I was going to go in and they were going to be like, oh, it's just really bad gas. And then I was going to be humiliated.
I went in once because I was in so much pain that my coworkers thought that I had appendicitis
hmm
and that my appendix was about to burst because it was excruciating pain.
hmm
And I went into the hospital. They did like ultrasound or x-ray, whatever they need to do.
Yeah.
And he comes back and the doctor's like, "You're full of shit." I was like, "Sorry."
Excuse me, what?
And he's like, "You have 4 pounds of shit in your colon."
Oh, great. You poor
So
thing.
I was very constipated. And like, word to everybody out there, it's not embarrassing to talk about at all. Um, and even if you're still pooping, you can be constipated.
I did not
Cause
know
I,
that.
yeah, because I was like, "Well, I've been pooping." He's like, "It doesn't matter. You just
Oh,
haven't been pooping enough."
all right.
So drink lots of water, people.
Don't end up in the hospital for too much poop.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, Ashley is braving it out today, which is glorious. Um, yeah, so we had a great trip. I'm
We
sad I'm home.
did. Me too. I miss you
I miss
already.
you. But we have a couple things coming up, so we're
Yeah, some exciting things I was supposed to do, but then I ended up in the ER. So hopefully for next week they'll be ready.
I yeah, I'll talk to you about it later.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
so I have like a crap ton of resources for mine. I have Wikipedia, CNN, The Washington Post, Cactus Jack Foundation, Variety Magazine,
Oh.
NBC News, and Billboard.
Oh.
All right. So, Astroworld Festival, if you don't know anything about it, is a fun annual music festival founded by Travis Scott in 2018, the same year that he released his third album called Astroworld.
Wow.
Off this album, he got his first Billboard Hot 100 #1 single called Sicko Mode. And then, in fact, in 2020, he became the first artist on the Hot 100 to have 3 songs debut at #1 in less than a year.
Nice.
You may also know him for dating Kylie Jenner and
That's
having two
the
children with her.
only that's the only way I know him.
Yeah. And in case you were wondering, it was reported in January that they broke up.
Oh.
So, anyway, the first Astro World Festival was November of 2018. It had some pretty well known artists performing, such as Young Thug, Post Malone, and Travis Scott himself. There were 2 stages that they had, and they named them Thrills and Chills, which I really like. And the making of this festival, as well as his album, was documented in the 2019 Netflix film Look Mom, I Can Fly. The first was such a success that it became an annual festival, with the second in 2019. And this had more broad styles of music. They had hard rock, nuevo flamenco, and it increased in size and was attended by about 50,000 people. In 2020, it was canceled because of COVID.
Uh,
So, yeah. So the next one was held in 2021, and it was a big deal because anyone who had wanted to go the previous year couldn't. Plus, we were all just, starting to be able to venture out again. And what's more fun than a music festival after you've been in quarantine for a year?
yep.
And this was going to be a 2-night event on November 6th and 7th. Ticket sales went crazy, and they sold about 100,000 tickets.
Holy crap. And the year like 2020 was about 50,000,
Yeah,
right?
so this doubled. Again, the nights did double too. So it was about 50,000 per night, but still.
Okay.
And it sold out in less than 30 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. So this festival was going to be an event. They had tons of things happening leading up to the festival, such as a celebrity softball game, and a few other, like a celebrity golf game and everything. And all of this stuff went to Travis Scott's Cactus Jack Foundation. So this was all like a big thing for charity. And the Cactus Jack Foundation's mission is to empower and enrich the lives of youth by providing access to education and creative resources to ensure long term success. The foundation
Oh,
believes that youth should not be prevented from attaining their lifetime goal and is committed to extending educational opportunities to all, regardless of their circumstances, to achieve their dreams.
oh,
Yeah, so that's Travis Scott's foundation.
I never would have thought that's
I
like,
I wouldn't have either.
and I mean, like, it's not because I know anything about the guy. It's just obviously, you know, who he associates with. Like, I just,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I
so
agree.
that's so cool of him.
Yeah. So leading up, they also had like a Nike pop-up store, a celebrity golf tournament. They unveiled a new basketball court at a community center and
Oh,
a community garden at a local elementary school.
wow.
Yeah. And all of these events would end on November 8th with a drive-in movie of Red Rocket, which was shot in Texas City and Port Arthur. So this was all done in Texas, like Travis's home state. So everything again was to raise money for this foundation or help the community, which I think is really amazing. And everything else goes off without a hitch. So November 5th comes and people start lining up at the gates at about 8:16 a.m. with the gates opening at 9 a.m. So there were daytime concerts and there were like food and drink vendors, anything like a normal
Yeah.
festival has. And Travis would go on at 9 p.m. that night. So it was a long day. If you're there, like starting line up at 8:16, that's a long day.
So I don't know how it is with you, like with festivals in the States, but do you guys like camp out or?
Sometimes, yeah. I don't know if they
Yeah.
did here. They didn't mention that at all, but I would
Okay.
assume some people probably did.
Yeah, because we have a place here called Burles Creek where we have like music festivals and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
people usually camp for the weekend. And
Gotcha.
so cool.
That would be cute.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, people are savages. And before the nighttime concert even started, about 3,000 to 5,000 people had rushed the gates, pulling down fences, rushed security points, and gained entry to the concert without ever being scanned. And I would assume probably without tickets.
Wow.
So they'll add to, the already 50,000 people per night, an extra 3 to 5,000 people, depending on if they had tickets, which I'm assuming they didn't. So the way the festival is set up, there was two stages, like I had mentioned. The main stage was kind of the middle of the venue, and that's where Travis was going to perform. And the audience area was roughly the size of 3 football fields. There was another smaller stage off to the left for the daytime concerts. I'm going to try and describe the main stage, but we'll put a picture up of it on our social so you can really understand what we're saying. But you have the main stage, and then directly in front of that, you have what looks to be some kind of pathway with a barrier. So as an audience member, you couldn't get like right up to the stage. So there's like an open area between you and the stage. This open space connected to pathways that went through the audience, creating a T. So you've got the stage, the top of the T, and then a line that went down the middle, kind of cutting off the audience. So there's like kind of two sections of audience.
Okay.
And this was for security and medical personnel to walk through so that they could get through to the different parts of the audience if needed.
Which is smart.
Yeah. And then on top of that, then there was kind of some more paths that came out what would be perpendicular to the top of the T, so that the audience was kind of in quadrants. There was 4 quadrants.
Okay.
And they named the quadrants north, east, south, and west. The sides were open to the people, so they could go out to the sides. But like if you were in the west quadrant, the only way for you to get out would be to go left. And if you're in the south quadrant, the only way would be out left. And then the north and the east, the only way to get out would be to the right. If that makes
Okay.
sense.
Okay.
All right. So, people were staking out their spots all day for Travis's concert and started to really build up around 6 p.m. One concert goer said that by 7 p.m., she was already getting pushed up against some of the barricades.
Oh,
So around 8:30 p.m., the second stage's concerts end. It was SZA. And all of the people watching her concert started making their way over to the main stage. And the way it was set up is that they would enter from the side of the main stage and into the south quadrant. So the quadrants went north, east, south, west. So they would kind of enter to that bottom left quadrant. Mohammed Mo said that he was actually caught in the current of concert goers, so he had no choice but to move with them. So at this point, everybody's packed in, and the daytime stage concert goers are kind of coming in, and it's creating this like kind of wave that if you're standing in there, you kind of have to go where the audience is pushing you.
Oh.
He said that one of the girls he was with actually started noticing that this was happening, and she's like, this isn't going to go well. And she said she didn't want to do this. She wanted to get out, but at this point they couldn't. They just kept getting pushed forward. So around 9 p.m., Travis takes to the stage and the crowd goes wild. One concert goer said there was just like a whole different shift to the crowd. Like everybody just, goes nuts. And there's a lot of videos because this is 2021. So, I mean, videos galore. So there's a lot of videos you can see. Some of them are really disturbing. So just be careful with what you Google. But you can see a lot of videos from the event from those in the South Quadrant, just kind of swaying to the music at this point, about 9 p.m. And I will say that there was a 9-year-old there named Ezra Blount, and he ends up dying. But you can see him in one of the videos. He's on his dad's shoulders. And apparently he was just a huge Travis Scott fan. So he was very excited to be there. But when all of this audience came in and people were getting pinned and they were starting to get pushed, they were starting to not be able to breathe. And that's what happened to Ezra's dad. His dad, he was getting pressed so much that he passed out because he couldn't breathe. And when he fell, Ezra fell into the crowd where he was basically trampled. Because at this point, like, people can't help where they're being pushed, right? So he was taken to the children's hospital where they put him in a medically induced coma to try and heal his brain, liver, and kidney trauma. But he unfortunately died 9 days later. So most of the people who died, and there was I say it late. I wrote this a while ago. I say later how many people died, but for most of the people who died, they were in the South Quadrant. Like I said, there were 3 walls of metal barricades and just like a shit ton of people from both those who had waited for the concert and those who came from the other stage.
So why wasn't there a limit to how many people could purchase tickets?
There should have been. And that's one of the things I think that the lawsuits, obviously there's many lawsuits from this. And I think that's one of the things that they talk about.
Yeah, because that's ridiculous. You don't need 100,000 people packed into an area. Like have it over more than a couple of days, like.
Yeah. So like it was 100,000 people over 2 days. So you should have, if you're going to do it over 2 days, then do, 25 and 25, or, only allow a certain number of tickets.
Exactly. And I mean, like, you can't help the people that broke in, but still, like,
yeah,
it just seems ridiculous, that amount of people.
2 other concert goers, 27-year-old Dinesh Beg, and his fiance wanted to leave early, but they couldn't, and they fell into the crowd as well. So apparently there's this thing called crowd scientists. Apparently they study crowds. And they took 12 random people in the South Quadrant and studied their movement. 5 seconds into Travis's concert, they no longer had independent movement and instead were being pushed wherever the crowd went.
Wow.
So more crowd experts went in and looked at the videos and determined that the density 3 minutes into the concert in some areas of the South Quadrant were 1.85 square feet per person, which I'm going to tell you what that is so you have some kind of bearing for that.
Okay.
But it was probably higher than that because it was hard to see the image super well. So what they did is they took a picture and they kind of like counted the people and determined the density from that. But the image was at night. There was smoke from fireworks, so it was hard to see and determine the number of people. So it was probably higher than 1.85 square feet per person. And this number probably doesn't mean anything to you. Like it didn't mean anything to me. But
It's just going over my head.
yeah. But apparently 1.5 square feet per person is what is called the crushing point and can cause compressive asphyxiation, which is basically where you're squeezed so tightly that you can't take a breath. Like there's no way for your lungs to expand. And this was at 1.85.
Wow.
A concert goer named Jacob Amaya said he started to realize that they weren't safe and saw people in front of him crying. And his friends to the side of him were yelling for help, saying that they needed to get out. People were trying to jump the barricades at this point, but couldn't, either because they were too tall, like the barricades were too tall, or because they were getting pinned against them. I'm not really sure. People were screaming for help. They were falling down and falling on top of each other, and this is called a crowd collapse. About 16 minutes into the concert, you can see from a video several unconscious people laying on top of each other. Among those was 21-year-old Axel Acosta, who died that night. Jacob Juranek and Franco Patino also died that night and can be seen in the same video. There is a, yeah.
Sorry.
No.
Like, could they not see what was happening from the stage?
No, they couldn't. And I truly think Travis could not see what was happening from the stage.
Yeah.
The lights were so bright and there were so many people that like even if there was a pileup, there would be so many people around them, you wouldn't really be able to tell.
Yeah. And like, where's security and medical personnel?
So I was actually just about to get to that. So good thought.
Okay, thanks.
There is a log from rescue personnel who had radio communication with people inside the venue. And they said that around 9:18 p.m., they had reported an individual with a crush injury and breathing difficulty. Other areas of the venue start to see the same issue with crowding and crushing. One girl who was in the west quadrant said that no one was on the ground by her and no one was saying stop in the concert or saying that people were hurt. Like nobody was telling anybody because they couldn't get to anywhere. Around 9:28, there are more people on the ground in the south quadrant. People were crying for help and trying to call 911 on their own phones. And with a crowd this dense, you can't like just not step on people. Like I said, you're just getting pushed and pulled and pinned against them. Billy Nasser said that people were just getting stomped on. At 9:30, huh?
Who's Billy Nasser?
Oh, sorry, he was another concert goer.
Ah, okay.
At 9:30 p.m., the concert was still going on while people were literally dying. A man tried to hop a barricade toward the back of the concert to tell a cameraman what was happening. And the people in the back had no idea what was going on. So they were telling the guy to shut the fuck up and get out of the way because they didn't know.
Wow.
And I did see some videos where there were some security guards there. And I know there was some like medical personnel running through the aisles and like trying to help people, like pull people out and stuff. But I just don't think it got to like Travis.
Yeah.
And this is why I think that he didn't know because so at 9:30 p.m. the Houston Police Department said HPD reports multiple people trampled, passed out at front of stage. So this is just getting reported to the police department. And at this point, an emergency vehicle with its lights on tried to get through the crowd from the east quadrant. Travis stopped performing and said, "What the fuck is that?" So I'm thinking at this point, he has no idea what's going on. And he said, if everybody could put a middle finger up to the sky, okay, oh my God, man, come on. And I think he thought it was like police busting people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he just continues with his concert. At 9:39, Houston Police Department makes the first public communication call for backup. Again, I don't know why someone didn't get this to Travis to just say stop the concert.
Honestly.
Paramedics try to get through to help people pass bodies over the barricade, but it's just impossible for them to get anywhere they need to get. At 9:42, Travis stops the concert once again to ask security to help a person who passed out at the front of the stage, and that person gets help. So that's like Travis saw someone passed out and was like, hey, security, come get this guy. So like he's gonna help people when they're in trouble, but I just don't think he knows what's going on. At least
Yeah.
that's my opinion on it.
Yeah.
Um, so people in the South Quadrant start waving their hands and chanting, stop the show, stop the show. At 9:43, there's a video of Rudy, aka Rudolfo Angel Pino, being removed from the crowd and getting medical attention. His face was disfigured from being stepped on, and he unfortunately
Oh.
passed. At 9:46 in the South Quadrant, medical personnel are able to get to two people who are passed out, and they start doing chest compressions on them. By 9:52, the fire incident commander declares this a mass casualty incident. Meanwhile, the concert's still going on.
Oh my God.
Due to this declaration, double the amount of firefighters are called to the scene. At 9:54, Drake makes a surprise appearance on stage and people go nuts, and the show finally ends at 10:12 p.m.
Over an hour.
Yeah. One concert goer, Jacob, said, it's just something that you'll never forget and something that's truly traumatizing, knowing that people died that night, knowing that people were asking for my help. To this day, I still hear their voices. They don't leave my head.
Ugh.
So these are the 10 victims.
Okay.
22-year-old Barty Shahani, 16-year-old Brianna Rodriguez, 23-year-old Rodolfo Pena, 21-year-old Franco Patino, 20-year-old Jacob Jurinick, 14-year-old John Hilgert, 23-year-old Madison Dubiski, 9-year-old Ezra Blount, 27-year-old Dinesh Beg, and 21-year-old Axel Acosta.
They were so young.
So young. The next day, Travis Scott released a statement on his social media page. I am absolutely devastated by what took place last night. My prayers go out to the family and all those impacted by what happened at Astroworld Festival. Houston PD has my total support as they continue to look into the tragic loss of life. I am committed to working together with the Houston community to heal and support the families in need. Thank you to Houston PD, Fire Department, and NRG Park for their immediate response and support. Love you all. Travis also paid for 7 of the 10 victims' funerals. Ezra and Dinesh and John Hilgert's family rejected the money. In a written statement, an attorney for the family of the 14-year-old John Hilgert called the offer demeaning and inappropriate given the magnitude of the tragedy. The Hilgerts are not about to allow someone else to pay for their son's funeral. It was one of the last things they could do for their son, he said. But of all the things this case is about, this is the least of the family's concern. The Hilgerts are set on making change and making sure this never happens again. There were obviously several, in fact, 4,900 lawsuits filed against
shit.
Live Nation, Travis Scott, and other festival organizers. And a lot of the, especially Blount's family, hired lawyers Ben Crump and Bob Hilliard to sue against Scoremore Management, Live Nation Entertainment, and Travis Scott because they alleged negligence as it pertains to crowd control and failure to provide proper medical attention, hiring, training, supervision, and retention. And they say that all of these organizers are legally negligent in how they planned and conducted the event, including not providing enough security and having insufficient emergency protocols in place. One of the things I did read was that the Houston police met with Travis before the concert and said that they were nervous about the crowd, about how the crowd would be and the way it was set up and the possibility of a mass casualty event. So they were aware that there was some issues There was also an interview with a security guard who quit the morning of the festival because he said he didn't get enough training to be able to do this. So I think there probably is a case for negligence. Um, it's just, I think that there probably was some negligence on the part. And like I said,
Oh
I don't
yeah.
think that while it was happening, Travis Scott knew. I don't think he was like malicious by any
Yeah.
means. But I think that probably there was not enough security and plans for emergency evacuations and that type of thing. The lawsuits were all filed individually by different victims, but they've been consolidated before a single Texas state judge as a multi district litigation. And this is pretty standard procedure. Um, and generally, it helps to streamline the proceedings and make it easier to reach like a broad settlement with all the victims. I do know that the one of the victims who died, his family had an individual lawsuit and they settled for an undisclosed amount out of court. But a lot of these are still ongoing, these lawsuits.
And is he allowed to perform?
Yeah, yeah, he still can perform and everything. Because he's getting sued, which is civil, not criminal.
Oh, okay.
So that is the awful, terrible story of the Astroworld Festival.
Holy. That's crazy.
Isn't it? Isn't that awful?
I just, I have no words
Yeah.
at how awful that is.
I can't even imagine like I mean, we heard that same thing happening in what country was it? Was it Korea or Japan? I can't remember
I have no idea.
recently where there was a bunch of people for some kind of holiday and a bunch of them got stuck like in a almost like an alleyway and got crushed.
Oh my God.
I can't even imagine the fear. Like, it's insane.
Ugh. It's awful. Awful, awful. Holy guacamole. Okay.
Why
Well,
don't you lighten us up with some glowing kids?
a little creepy. So thank you for shedding light on that situation.
Yeah.
Um, I will not go to a festival. But now we will move on to the glowing children of Woolpit.
Oh,
And if I mispronounce anything, it's okay because the story is from the 12th century. So,
I need exact pronunciations or I will be offended.
or you will riot.
I will riot.
Okay, John Brown, calm down. So, two young children with green skin were found on the outskirts of the English village of Woolpit on an otherwise ordinary day around the year 1150.
Oh, that's way back.
The kids didn't just have an odd appearance, they also spoke a bizarre language and appeared to hate most food,
Oh,
like my toddler.
right. Same.
The strange duo were adopted by the townspeople, who helped them learn English and eventually rid themselves of their green skin tone.
They don't know what language they were speaking.
I'll get to it.
Oh, okay.
They claimed to be from Saint Martin, which was a remote country where the sunshine was in short supply, which would make me sad. This was like the longest winter of my life. I hated it.
Oh no.
The Green Children of Woolpit have developed into a puzzling historical riddle in the intervening years. What caused their skin to become green if they were real? And what was the St. Martin's land? And what if an alien explanation were true?
Ooh.
Two distinct chroniclers, the 13th century historian William of Newburgh and the 12th century abbot Ralph of Coggeshall,
Oh, fancy.
yeah, told the tale of the green children of Woolpit. However, the accounts of how two green children appeared in the Woolpit village in Newburgh and Coggeshall are identical.
Ew.
Yeah. According to the legend, the two children were found by villagers in the year 1150, and they were reportedly seen crawling out of one of the trenches used to trap the wolves that gave the settlement its name. So, Woolpit used to be spelled Wolf Pit in Old
Oh.
English, like WULF hyphen PYTT.
Oh.
Yeah. So, what was most shocking was, as we discussed, that they were green. In his Historia Rerum Anglicarum, which in English is called History of English Affairs, from 1220, Newburgh related that during harvest, while the reapers were engaged in gathering in the produce of the fields, two children, a boy and a girl, completely green in their persons and clad in garments of a strange color and unknown materials, emerged from these wolf pits.
Can you imagine?
No, I just love the whole like they crawled out of the hole.
Yeah, green.
The kids appeared to be speaking gibberish in addition to being green and dressed strangely. According to Coggeshall, they were brought to the adjacent residence of Sir Richard de Calne. De Calne offered the green children food, but they turned it down. Don't turn down the food. The green children of Woolpit eventually found some green beans growing in De Calne's garden and eagerly devoured them after a few days of not eating.
Oh, okay.
They apparently started eating the food the villagers gave them soon after, and their complexion reportedly started to get less green.
Hmm.
The girl appeared to thrive while being cared for by the locals, even though the little boy fell ill and passed away.
Oh, baby.
Yeah. She quickly became fluent in English and told the Woolpit residents an odd tale about her native country. According to ancient origins, the young woman adopted the name Agnes Barr and finally revealed to the locals that she and her brother were from a place known as St. Martin. But she wasn't sure how they got to Woolpit. She explained, on one occasion, as we were feeding our father's flocks in the fields, we heard a great sound, such as we are now used to hearing at St. Edmund's when the bells are chiming. And while listening to the sound in admiration, we became on a sudden, as it were, entranced, and found ourselves among you in the fields where you were reaping. So
Ugh.
she said that her nation was Christian and had churches, but otherwise differed greatly from England when she was pressed further. According to Newburgh, she said, "We are pleased with that darkness which among you precedes the sun up or follows the sunset. The sun does not rise upon our countrymen. Our land is rarely enlivened by its beams. Additionally, a bright country that is only a short distance from ours and separated from it by a huge river can be observed."
Oh.
But no one ever discovered where they came from. Apparently, Agnes led a somewhat normal life, though some sources claim she became rather loose and wanton in her conduct in later years.
So she probably like what showed too much ankle.
Yeah, she was a little hippie. So, who were the Woolpit Green children? What was the name of St. Martin's Land? Is it possible that the explanation is extraterrestrial? What do you think, Ashley?
I think that they probably ate a lot of greenery with a lot of chloroform in it, and maybe it made them a little green.
That's what I was thinking. The Green Children of Woolpit's existence may or may not have actually occurred, but their tale has captivated people for ages. So, their skin's green hue could be explained by the possibility that they were poisoned with arsenic and abandoned to die.
That's awful.
Chlorosis, which is caused by starvation and may account for why their green skin faded as they adapted to a better diet, is also another reason for their green skin.
Oh, that one sounds like that. I think that one.
Yeah. But what about their peculiar attire and language?
What about that? Hmm.
According to Historic UK, they might have been the offspring of immigrants from Belgium who were slain by King Stephen or King Henry II. Therefore, what the Woolpit locals interpreted as gibberish may have been Dutch.
Oh, okay.
And the twilight the kids were describing may have actually been the dense forest of Thetford Forest, which is nearby.
Hmm.
However, some other people have made some very different arguments. According to ancient origins, some people think that the children's green skin, odd clothing, and alien language prove that they are extraterrestrial. When Robert Burton claimed that the green children of Woolpit fell from heaven in the Anatomy of Melancholy in 1621, this hypothesis appears to have been originally proposed in the 17th century.
Wow.
Although there isn't much evidence to support this notion, it is undeniably true that there are some similarities between the tale of the Green Children of Woolpit and contemporary depictions of extraterrestrials as little green men.
Yeah. I wonder, that's interesting because I wonder if that's kind of like what, like, not started, but like really like increased the stories of the little green men was these kids. And
Yeah,
as the centuries went on, they kind of got changed and changed and changed.
yeah, could be. I think it's so creepy when they're like, they fell from heaven.
Yeah.
They fell from the sky. Ugh. Naturally, there are many who assert that the Green Children of Woolpit were fictitious.
Mm.
This is in this is unimportant to William of Newburgh, though, who recorded their history. He said of his description of the children, "Let everyone say as he pleases and reason on such matters according to his abilities. I feel no regret having recorded an event so prodigious and miraculous."
Prodigious.
Yeah,
Oh,
so that's it.
very
So
interesting.
so short. I'm so sorry.
No, it was super. Mine
But
was really long, so made up.
yeah, I thought that it was just like a really cool story. And
Yeah.
I wanted to bring you guys along on that.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Thanks. I do have some dad jokes for you.
Oh, okay. Well, I forgot to mention too that one of the victims of the Astroworld, Madison, her family started the Pink Bows Foundation, and it
Oh,
offers scholarships to undergraduate students majoring in risk management with a focus on enhancing security measures for large events. Additionally, it invests in the growth of individuals through dance and cheer programs to foster their personal development and leadership skills. So,
oh,
yeah, thought that was pretty nice.
nice. Okay. You want a joke?
Yes, I do.
Okay. What has 88 keys but can't open a door?
A piano.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I'm so proud of you.
Thanks.
I thought I had more and I don't.
I thought
Can't
I had one and I can't find it.
find mine either. Gosh, guys, we're like terrible on this.
We really suck.
We really suck. Sorry. I'm just like, I'm still in vacation mode, even though I've gone to work for
To
a few
work.
days. So, but yeah.
Well, everybody, thanks for tuning in. And next week, like I said, hopefully I won't have any more trips to the ER, and we'll have some exciting announcements of stuff we're gonna do moving forward. So tune in next week and make sure to check out our Facebook, our Instagram, and our YouTube channel.
And if you want to rate and review us, which please do, we are on Spotify and Apple Podcast.
Yeah, so thanks for listening, and we look forward to bringing you 2 new stories next week.
Bye.
Bye.